As soon as I heard about this movie, I was intrigued, even though I knew virtually nothing about it. But I did know it was written by Patrick DeWitt, whose book this is also based on. Now, I haven't read this book, but I have read his other book, The Sisters Brothers. And I have seen the movie adaptation of it as well, and I liked both of them a fair bit. On top of that, this also stars Michelle Pfeiffer and Lucas Hedges, so the cast is definitely not bad either. However, the scores online did put a slight damper on my expectations, because I'd call them relatively mediocre. Now, on the other hand, I have heard a few people give this a lot of praise as well, so I was still more excited than usual to sit down to watch this. And the story here revolves around a wealthy woman and her beloved son, who live in New York and, well, let's just say they receive some bad news. Things slowly develop from there and the story goes in some interesting directions. Now, for the majority of the runtime it doesn't actually do anything that crazy. It feels more like kind of a regular drama with a rather healthy dose of humor thrown into the mix. Humor that I personally loved, but the tone is rather peculiar, to be fair. And I can see why this one might not quite gel with a lot of people. Because if you don't appreciate the humor here, the movie is just not gonna work. I, however, loved the humor, and it's very much in line with what I expected just based on the Sisters Brothers. It's just based around clever and witty dialogue that feels a little bit offbeat and quirky, but it's not entirely reliant on the dialogue either, because the events themselves are often rather funny too. A lot of them are anyway, and the further into the movie we get, the nuttier things get too. Because what starts off fairly normal and stays fairly normal for a long time definitely takes an unexpected turn towards lunacy at one point late in the movie. And I would expect that twist to lose a lot of people as well, but again, I loved it. Also, what starts off as a movie focusing almost entirely on just two characters turns into something very different as it slowly picks up new characters along the way. And toward the end they all just basically come together, and it honestly felt like watching a Woody Allen movie, where you just have an ensemble cast of wacky characters and several different storylines that all coalesce and come together in the end, tying it all up into something that feels cohesive and satisfying. Which is exactly how this one handled it, although the actual conclusion wasn't very Allen-esque. But it was very much DeWitt-esque, and I mean, if you didn't see the end coming, I don't know what movie you were watching. It was pretty much the only end that made any sense, and anything else would have felt out of place. It would have felt basically like a betrayal of the characters and the story as a whole too. So of course it did the expected, but it worked, and yeah, I liked that part too. In fact, there are very few things I didn't like about this. It's just a movie that's pretty much custom made for my sense of humor. And a movie that prominently features a cat is automatically gonna get some bonus points as well. And not only does this do that, the cat actually serves a clear purpose here too. One that you'll just have to watch the movie for to find out what it actually is. And before I wrap up, I guess I do have to mention Michelle Pfeiffer's performance here too. Because this character was just made for her. It lets her dig deep into it and have fun with it. And I doubt anyone could have done a better job. She was just great in this. But yeah, I have very few complaints about this as a whole and very, very much enjoyed it. Just thinking back on it and reflecting on it puts me in a good mood, so I pretty much have to give this one a high 8. Boop. And I would definitely recommend you give this one a chance, although I don't expect everyone to love it. It's just one of these movies that either works for you or it doesn't. So, you know, maybe check it out or maybe don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic.